Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi, welcome everybody to the last webinar, Noyantis Usergroup webinar that is, of 2018. In fact, it's probably the last Clarion Live of 2018, is it not, John?
It is.
Yeah. Wait, no pressure then. Finish up the year. So yes, it's today the 31st of December 2018. Myself and John are here. As always, if we've got any queries or questions or ideas, problems, and feel free to raise your hand and we'll get the mics open and so on. I know we've already got a couple of questions already in regarding the command bars, so we're going to jump to that one first. Updates wise, obviously it's been a quieter spell with the festive period and so on, but there actually was a release to the Chillcat wrapper just before Christmas. I think it was Christmas Eve, 24th of December. There was actually a release last week. I didn't publicise it and so on. It was a small release, and basically it was to do with the QuickBooks interface. QuickBooks wrapper interface of the Chillcat wrapper, and basically within QuickBooks you have various different entities like customers and accounts, which are your general ledger, so on and so forth. And it got pointed out that you also have a thing called a class. Now, that's not a Clarion class. Don't get it confused with that. It's a class is a term that they use maybe for, say, departments or categories or things like that. So you can say, I'm doing this transaction and I want parts of it to be classed against our development costs, and I want some of it to be classed against sales costs and that type of thing. So it's not a general ledger account. It's not a particular customer. It's just a classification which QuickBooks supports. We support it in the definitions where you go to upload transactions and download transactions, but you couldn't actually download the class or the classification, let's call it, definitions themselves. Now you can. That was a recent update within a release last Monday, and now you can download and upload your QuickBook classifications. So as always, they're always ongoing. So yes. Actually, Graham has just pointed out, I'm going to quickly open the mic to Graham, if he's got a mic, that he's here live in Australia, and of course they're in 2019. So they've briefed me on about 2018. He's already there. Graham, I don't know, you got a microphone open?
Can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Yep. Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year.
It's 2 a.m. down here.
Yeah, I was going to say, you must have still celebrating or burning the midnight oil.
No, burning the midnight oil. I took it a little slower on the rum tonight. Well, last night.
Fair enough. So, well, yes, Happy New Year. Very good. Oh, that's brilliant. I like that.
So no, I thought I'd try and make the first one for me for the year. Last one for you guys, first one for me.
Brilliant. Oh, absolutely brilliant to hear from you. Very good. Very good. And I believe you might be over at, sorry to divert everybody, I believe you might be over at the CIDC event.
That's the intention, yep.
Brilliant. I look forward to meeting up again at the event. This time
we got the big travel bug last year from, well, caught up with you and Wendy over in France.
That's right, yes, for everybody who's wondering what we're going on about. Yes, basically, Graham was all the way over from Perth, isn't it, in Australia?
No, Brisbane.
Oh, yes, sorry, it was Tony over in Perth. Yes, Brisbane, Australia, and he was over in Europe, and wanted to come to the UK to meet up, but just happened to be going to France at the same time that we were just travelling to France, so we met up and showed him the delights of Le Mans. So that was great. If anyone's ever over in Europe, you must give us a contact, and we'll definitely meet up. Definitely make an effort. So, okay, well, we should really press on. So I know we've got Bill, who's been eagerly after some help on the command bars. So, Bill, have you got a microphone open?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Great. Yeah, I'm just kind of lost on the whole command bar shortcut thing, and I did notice something this morning, and I guess I got to apologize for it, but I did find that I signed up for those training videos.
Oh yes, yeah.
And I just downloaded them here a little bit ago, and I can see that that's going to probably be a big help. And if I'd known I had those, I probably wouldn't be asking this. But I do.
It doesn't do any harm to go through them again, just quickly, and then the videos can prove as a fallback for you, so to speak. How's that sound?
Sounds great.
Okie. So.
But what I'm trying to do is just go. I'm trying to have a MDI mainframe with the ribbon bars on it, with a few tabs. Each tab would represent something that's currently a main menu item, and then I'll call the procedures from that, and then have some kind of a drop down to call the reports that are listed in my menus, unless there is a way to inherit the menu. That's where I'm not.
Well, let's take a quick look here. So this is the example app. Let's just get a compile of this, and then we'll actually stop it from working, and we'll see how easy we can get it working your way. How's that sound?
Great.
So one of the notes, just while waiting for this, I've got on my desk at work is to recut some of the examples, and we get asked for more and more of the examples which we show during these webinars of. Can we see the one where you've got the task panel holding certain bars of the command bars, and where the shortcut bar has the task panel as the content? So basically the integration between the various different controls. And we're going to actually release all those.
Some of those control names gets real confusing when you're, until you actually get one going the way you want it. It's just kind of confusing for.
Well, I mean, yeah, there is a whole new set of terminology to get used to and so on. So yes, no, I appreciate that. Let me just register. I've only got up to 18.3 on this machine. Yes, I'm not on my normal dev machine. Being the festive season, I'm actually sat at home on the sofa and just going through basically using the dev laptop, so it's not fully up to date on the controls. But 18.3 is perfectly fine, so we'll just use those as a test. Okay. Obviously we want this to be set to 18.3, and what we should really do actually is the golden rule, especially for the later versions of the CodeJot controls, is use the matching theme files, so they're the style files, from the version that you're using. So it wasn't really an issue earlier on, but they've definitely worth doing in the later versions. So the 18 point odds definitely use it. So I'm going to use 18.3, so I'm going to go into the samples folder. I'm going to go into the styles folder, and I'm just going to take those files. In fact, realistically, we probably don't need all those, but I'll put them in there for now. Okay, and this is currently set to use, doesn't really matter, Office 2016 white. Now, there we go. Thank you very much. So you want the ribbon type interface. So you want basically that type of interface, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And if I imagine, if you will, your Clarion menu, this happens to be a command bar one, but in a Clarion menu you might have examples, advanced, and the usual edit, that type of thing, and you want basically a tab per section, if you will, for want of a better term.
Correct.
That sound about right? Okay, that's no problem. Right. So first thing to learn then, terminology. In a traditional menu, I suppose, a Clarion menu, command bars, interface type menu, this here, up here, is called the system menu, which we would be used to in Clarion anyway, as a system menu. Then you can have command bars, you can have ribbons and so on if it's a ribbon type interface, or if you've got the tabbed interface, you can have tabbed and command bars. But forget that one. We're going to stick with yours. So if you had a command bar interface, you could have the system menu looking like so, and the command bar looking like this. If you're using a ribbon type interface, so all of these are still command bars, but you've got 3 types of interface: ribbon, command, and tabbed. You want the ribbon. On the ribbon type interface, your system menu is this up here. You have 2 styles of system menu. One is the older style where you have the icon, like so, and that's something like the Office 2010 type style. And then you've got Office 2013 and Office 2016, which would just have that as a tab in its own right. So that's the system menu. And then your tabs are the first level of containers, if you will. Within a tab, you must have some kind of group. So you can see here we've got a tab called buttons and edits, and then we've got a group called buttons. Under this tab, we've got various groups. We've got one called font selection, one called scroll bars, one called labels, one called hyperlinks. And then you put your contents, your controls, into those groups. Okay, so there's a hierarchy of what belongs to what. So for the ribbon interface, the highest hierarchy would be a tab, followed by a group, followed by the control itself. And then possibly under that might be a sub-control. For example, one of those might be a pop-up. So one example, that's a button pop-up, and under there you have got controls what belong to that pop-up. So the hierarchy here would be tab, whatever the tab's called for buttons and edits, then your group, so the buttons group, then that control here, the button pop-up, would belong to the button group, and these 4 entries would belong to that pop-up. With me so far?
Yes.
Brilliant. Okay. So all of this is, of course, if we are manually painting it. So I'm just going to stick with that example just to explain that hierarchy. We'll see then if we can automate it for you. You can do it. You don't get as good a results, I'll be honest with you, Bill. You can do it. I can read the Clarion menu and populate the groups accordingly for you, but you don't get as good a control over it because you're only getting whatever properties Clarion will support rather than what the control will support. So for my personal view would be go the extra mile and can create the actual contents yourselves. It's a one-off task. It's a laborious task, but it's a one-off task, and you will get better.
Yeah, let's do that then. That would be more detailed.
I'll show you the both, but it would be a better option. So where are we? So in the ribbon, what we can see on this here, we're going to do the MDI interface for you now, but on this one, we have got our interface is a ribbon bar type interface. So that's the first thing you want to check. That's good. So far, so good. Do we want the system menu, which calls itself a system button for the ribbon type interface? And we are going to have one, which you saw in the example. We're going to have it as the icon round button style with an image on it. And then that's just the button itself. When that button's pressed, it's going to initiate something called a system menu. So basically, it's technically internally it's a bar, but as far as we're concerned, it's a pop-down menu. But it's they call it a bar, so you have to work with their terminology from the help guy's point of view. So we're going to say that everything needs its own internal ID. So basically, the system button has got a default of sys button. System menu's got a default of sys menu, and so on. So we've got that. Let's go to our bars. We've got our ribbon. So the actual main ribbon bar. Tell you what, I'm actually just going to run this and flip between the two screens so you can see what I'm referring to. So the round button we saw a minute ago was sys button. When we click it, this here is a bar, and this is called the sys menu. You can call it anything you like, it's just from those examples a minute ago. Then you've got technically the ribbon bar. So everything belongs to the ribbon bar, if you will. So this whole area here, horizontal area, is called the ribbon bar. Let's go to our template. So here we've got the ribbon ID. So it's just called ribbon. And you can add anything to anything. So let me just pull this example down here. Sorry, that's and you can see there's a close button there. That close button has been added to this on there. It's on the system menu. Probably a bad example. On yours in a second, we'll add something to the ribbon bar. So we could add something to this ribbon bar here over on the right hand side if you wanted it to. So that's the ribbon bar area. Then you've got, if you want it to have it, a quick access area. The quick access area is this area here. So these can be user defined if you want them to be, or you can turn it off from the user defined point of view, but still use it as predefined options for yourself. So in this example, we'll go to the content in a second, but in this example, we already have some items attached to the quick access. And you can allow your users to add their own. So for example, that font drop down, I can right click and add to quick access. And now that's on there. If you want the user to have that control, of course. There will be some way you think, no, I definitely don't want them to do that, but it's all under your own control. So that's the quick access area, and they can be saved and restored, by the way, in your own setup. That's no problem. So we're on the ribbon. We've got our ribbon ID, we've got the quick access area, and then we've got our tabs. So we've got our ribbon ID, which is the whole ribbon area. We've got our quick access area, which is this here. And then you've got your individual tabs. So we can see that we've got, 4 tabs there. So let's have a look, and we have got, is that not that example? Oh, I'm on the wrong example. I'm going to go to different controls, that's the one. Bars, quick access, tabs. Oops. And we've got our 4 tabs, which you can see there. Buttons and edits, fonts and scrolls. So we've just got 4 tabs, and I've called them controls 2, 3 and 4. Not exactly exciting names, but they're there. Now let's go with this example here, the button pop-up. So we know that is called the controls. Let's go to that tab, and we've got some settings for that, but the main thing from a hierarchy point of view is what groups have we got. And we've got 2 groups on this tab. We've got buttons group and an edits group, and visually we have now, interesting, there's the edits. It's because it's only small. If we make that bigger, maybe a bit bigger still, there you go, there's the edits group. Now, we saw that a second ago actually had shrank down to just a button. Let's just make that a bit smaller for you. So I've got the go to webinar controls hiding some of the things for me. You don't get to see that. As I make that smaller, so I don't give it visually enough room, it's automatically folded that whole group into a button, technically into a pop-up. The whole group is there, It's just folded it down into a pop-up, so you never, it's not too cramped, and you always can still get to all the content. That particular setting is part of the group definition. So allow the group to reduce to a pop-up, and if you do that, that's exactly what it will do. And when it does, it will take on a particular icon with icon size. So does that bit make sense to you? Because that
Yes.
catches a few people. Brilliant. So far, so good then. As anybody else, any questions, feel free to jump in on these. And then you come to the content. So you've got different ways. You can say user-defined contents, which we've used in this, or you can read them from a Clarion menu bar. Now, of course, you might have a Clarion menu bar on a particular window, but 9 times out of 10 people will have the Clarion menu bar on the application frame. So of course we're going to be on this. If you want to populate from the Clarion menu bar, chances are you're going to be using this as an extension on the app frame, which is fine. We're going to cover a couple of these in a second. So that's that. So we can see these are user defined. So we've got a group called edits. We're going to go back. We've got our buttons one as well. So we've got controls. We've got a group on there. So it's a ribbon group called buttons. And then there's one major tab from the template point of view, and this is where you define all of the actual contents for the ribbon bar. Now, those of you who've used this for a long time will remember the early versions. You never had this tab. What you actually did was you would have, under the group, you would have a new tab there called content, where you actually specified all the individual contents, which was fine, except if you wanted to move something from one group to another group or tab to another tab, you end up having to delete it and then re-add it, and the workload was quite a lot. So the approach we switched to was one big list of content, and you can just switch the parentage if you want to at runtime, or at the template time. So it's very simple, just by a few options. So we're going to look at that particular one here, the button pop-up, which is this one here. That's the one we're interested in, because that also has some content as well. So if we look for that one, I can see it happened to be system menu. Scroll down. There's our quick access. So this is, you can see all the different parentage, if you will, and we're looking for that one. So if I go to the definition of that, I can see what does it belong to. It belongs to a ribbon bar. Technically, it belongs to a ribbon group. So you select ribbon bar. What's its parent ID? And that's a buttons group, which we specified earlier. And then what type of controller is it? So we've given it some wording. It's a type, a button pop-up, and we've called it internally an ID of control button pop-up. With an icon, of course, which is just seen on the screen, with some options if you want the options, and the tooltip, usual things. Now that's just a pop-up, so it means there is no action associated with it. You could technically put action if you wanted to, but you'd do that via code. But if you wanted action on that, you really wouldn't be wanting a button pop-up. What you'd want is a split button pop-up. Because a button pop-up, basically the idea is it's just a pop-up. Whereas a split button pop-up can have a button and a split at the same time. So the top half of it is just a button, and we can see there. That's what's been accepted. If you click the bottom half of it, it would give you the sub options. So that's why you wouldn't have actions associated with just a button pop-up. You would use a split button pop-up, which gives you the best of both worlds. If you require that, of course. Okay, so sticking with this, control button pop-up, and we've said it's a button pop-up type. If we were then to look at this, we can see the other controls here, which is children. And on here, parent is a pop-up, because we just defined it a second ago. Parent ID, and it's the ID of the pop-up that we've just defined. Then we've got this option 1 and what you want it to be, so that's just a standard button with an image, maybe some options regarding that image and the button size, and then the actions associated with it. So we could actually if we wanted to execute a Clarion command, and it could be message option 1 best, like so. Okay, so let's just take a quick look at that. So what we've just seen there from a hierarchy point of view is the ribbon bar, the ribbon tab, the ribbon tab group. Then you've seen a ribbon tab group control, which was the button pop-up, and then you've seen another control which belonged to the pop-up itself. So there we've got that there, and when we press that, we expect that message 1 pressed, which we just, of course, told it to do. So that's the principle behind that. Clear so far?
Yes.
Okay. Right, I'm going to stop the current command bar from working on the Clarion menu. So let's just quickly go back to our app frame. It's got the extension on there, the command bars. And it's at the top, that's fine. Perfect, that's just what we're after. And I'm gonna switch all its content. So I'm gonna get rid of everything what's there. So everything you've seen so far, forget. Okay, got no content. And I don't even want the bars. And I'm going to go back to the interface. I'm going to change it to a ribbon type interface. But, and there's one important thing just while we're doing this, I'm going to leave the Clarion menu intact behind the scenes. So one of the options you've got under Appearance and an option is Hide Clarion Menu Bar. I'm going to untick that, so you will actually still see the Clarion menu bar. Okay, just what we've asked it to do. A ribbon, and the Clarion one's still there. Under Clarion, you've got example, you've got ribbon bars, command bars, tabbed bars, action examples. So how about I create 5 tabs. One just covers the ribbon bars, one covers the tabbed bars, one covers, the command bars, one covers that, and then one has some custom things on it. Does that sound like something you might want to achieve?
Yes. Now, did you have to put a toolbar up there?
Nope. No. All you would do is go straight to here, extensions, and insert and add your command bar.
I'll
tell you what I'll do. We'll start totally afresh. Okay, so we really haven't got anything. There's your standard Clarion bar. Menu, sorry, I mean. Okay, now that's black because that, I happen to know internally, is told to inherit the current style from the system, basically inherit the global style, expecting it to be on the main app frame. But of course, we've not got one on the main app frame at the moment, so it's not inheriting any color theme. That's why it's black. So we're going to add it just like you would on a new app. So into the app frame, insert, command bar, and you want the command bar frame, obviously, because it's the only one available to you on the app frame. We're going to have it at the top. We're going to leave all these settings default, so it can grow to its own height, it can grow to its own width. We will have it trap the MDI offense, and I'm even going to have it display the MDI buttons for us on the ribbon bar. Ribbon interface, yep, happy with that. We'll have some tooltips, I'm not sure there are any, but we'll display tooltips. We will have a system menu bar, so you can see that an extra tab appears, and that's going to be our button. So you can see here, just like we said before, system, We'll give it file actually. There you go. File. It's going to have a system menu. Fine. That's fine. Let's have a look at that to start with. Don't think I give it an icon actually. Oh, do you know what? It's still got loads of embed code under there. That's why. Well, I might just cheat and just put that one back in. Remember, I deleted the old one, so yeah, it's not really. Command bar or command bars? Command bars, right. I could get rid of all the embed code, but it's just faster for me to just quickly do this. So I'm just going to marry up the new name, if you will, with the old one. So command bars. You wouldn't have that because, of course, you wouldn't have the embed code from the left line around. Okay, yep, we've got that, and we've got a no icon on there, but we have got basically a system button with a menu bar appearing. Let's at least give that some kind of icon so we can see it. On here, image, want a better one, nys.ico. We'll go for that round, that's why I didn't get any wording. And in here, tell you what we're going to do, we're going to cheat. We're going to say we want, we're not going to have user-defined controls under there. I'm going to pinch them from the Clarion menu bar, but I'm going to pinch just one section, and it's going to be a section what's worded edit. Now it has to go off wording. So if I show you the Clarion menu bar, just so we can familiarise ourselves, we've got one called edit. Remember, it goes off wording, so whatever is under edit, I would expect, cut, copy and paste, I would expect those options to automatically be populated onto our system menu for us, because we've just said our content wants to be dynamically loaded from the Clarion menu bar for the wording called edit. If you didn't put any wording, you get the lot. Okay, got our icon, we've got edit, and we've got the options. Okay, looks a bit rubbish personally, but it is doing what it's told to do. Okay, now let's create ourselves some tabs. So we've got our ribbon, got our quick access, and we'll have I can't remember what the four are. Just 1 second. What are our examples? Ribbon, command, tabbed, action. Right, okay. We'll go with them. So across to our bars, we want our tab, and there's going to be tab dot ribbon, ribbon examples. Okay. To get those, I'm going to have a group, because we need the group to be able to put the content in there. So I'm just going to call it group dot ribbon, ribbon examples, and when it comes to the content, we're going to say we want to pinch them from, I'm just going to pinch the wording off here, saves me just closing it and reopening it, so I've had that running. And the examples are ribbon, space bars, command space bars, tab space bars. Okay. So I'm just going to pinch the ones what says ribbon space bars, and I want one button per menu option, or I can have pop-ups with sub options. I'm just going to go straight forward with one button per menu option. Okay, so that's our first one. tab.command. We'll have a group, because we need a group, so it's going to be group.command, and that can be command bar examples. Clarion again, and the wording we're looking for, remember it's going off here, is command space bars. Command space bars. Oops. Tabbed. Group.tabbed. Tabbed bar examples, and again we're going to load off there. You will see where all this is going, so we're going to basically expect to pinch just one option off there, tabbed bars. And on here, tab actions. Command bar, Clarion. And the wording is action examples. Okay. If you're wondering what the other thing is, if you add submenus in here, then what it would do is you could say pop-ups with sub-options, so it would read the submenus, create a pop-up for them, and then the contents of each submenu would go as a pop-up content, just like we had on that the button pop-up a minute ago. Okay, so that's that, and then last but not least, well, that shouldn't have been on there. We should have had an extra tab. Sorry, I got carried away. Root. Actions. Okay, that will give us our 4 tabs, and then we're going to have one custom one. And this is what I think this is the better one personally. And for the content, we're just going to leave that as straightforward, user defined. So quick recap, we created 5 tabs, sorry. Each tab has got a group. The first 4 are going to read their contents from the Clarion menu. The last one we're going to populate ourselves in a second. Okay. So here's our first tab, ribbon examples, and it's read 4 items off there. And if we look on here, we've got our 4. Remember, this is what's populating it. Command bars, and there's the command bars. Tab bar, and there's the tab bar. And under the actions, we expect 2. So we go to actions. Oops. We've got our 2. And of course, all these would work. Pressing one of those would of course go off and call our desired example.
So it inherits all the embed code and everything.
Basically, technically what it does behind the scenes, it looks at the Clarion menu structure, reads it, it's got its hierarchy, it's got what belongs to what, and so on and so forth. And then if you say, right, build me a menu, I could actually say on here, just to show the entirety, we'll add a brand new, bar, and we'll have a tab called Tab All. I think you know where I'm going with this. group all. Want it to get its content from the Clarion menu, but I don't want to read just one part of it. I just want you to get the lot. There's one button per option. Probably be better actually there if we use the pop-ups. That would be a better interface for that. Now what that will do, and just for good measure, under the Clarion menu, we're going to give that some icons. So I'm going to give that a cut.icon. I'm going to give that a copy.icon. And a paste.icon. So basically what it will do is it will pick up the wording, icons, so on and so forth from the Clarion menu, enabled and disabled state as well, and it will emulate them onto the command bar. After that, when you go and press the command bar button for that particular option, it actually goes and posts the event back to the standard Clarion menu button. So even if you destroy the Clarion menu bar, it would still be there from an embed point of view. So we can see here, got our print setup, a bit boring that one. The edit, that's not bad. Why is it red? There's our examples. I would have expected that then. Okay, what about that one? Not edit. Oh, because I'd already emulated them earlier, so it's put them into the same place. So that's where it screwed up the parentage, because we've already told it to copy the edit part up here, if that makes sense. We've actually told it to do it twice. So yeah, that's why that's happened. But at least it showed that the icons and so on, as expected, are copied. Okay, now we're going to go to custom. Any questions on everything you've got so far there?
No.
Good.
So actually I'm getting a better understanding here of the hierarchy. That's I think where I was messing up.
No, very good. No, brilliant. So we've got that. And we've got the little MDI buttons, which is created for you, and usual things, and so on. Now we're going to create some custom content. So I know we've got one called different control types and maybe the splash window. So we go to our command bar and we call it tab custom and group custom. Yep. So we're going to be putting our content on here, group custom. So I'm going to go to here, I'm going to say OK. I'm going to put it as control. I don't know which one it's going to be, so I'm just going to call it example 1. It's going to go to a ribbon bar. It's going to go on the group dot custom. So now we know where it's going to belong. I'm going to give it some wording. I'm going to call it example 01. I've got some images. If I put that in, it will automatically compile it in for us, and I'm going to call it insert.icon. Only purely so I can show that you can put whatever icon you want on this and the usual things and so on. Style, I'm going to put the icon with a caption below, so it's a little larger. And when it's called, I want you to call a procedure. It's going to be different control types. Initiator thread, usual thing as you would expect off off an app frame. So that's example 1. I'm going to do control pop-up. Just control pop-up, that'll do. Going to belong to that same one. Group custom. This is going to be pop-up example. So I want it to be a button pop-up. Completely different icon. Customers.icon, I think I've got one of those. Again, I quite like the icon to be below. Now that's control pop-up. So now I'm going to add something, and I'm going to say it's going to be control example 02, but this is going to belong to a pop-up called control pop-up, which we just defined a second ago. And on here it's going to be, I don't know, action example. Standard button, change the icon for nice thing. Again, get a bit more control over how it looks. We could, if we wanted, start changing its size. So we can say here, I want it to definitely be 80 wide. Oops. 80 wide. And when it's there, it's going to be called some one of the action ones. Doesn't really matter which one. Advanced mimic, that'll do. And then last but not least, just going to do another one. Control splash. It's going to belong to our pop-up. So we're going to have a couple of options on that. It's going to be the splash window. Do you know what? We will give it an image just to make sure it looks nice. But this can be icon only. Just the icon. I'm going to have it quite large. Don't think we initiate that. Okay, now let's just take a quick look at what we've got here. Want our custom. Okay, there's our example one, which was just a standard button, agreed. With the icon above, the thing below, that should call different controls, I think it was, something like that, yeah, that's that one. And then we added a pop-up, and we said we wanted that a certain size, so of course, even the pop-up, it's now taking on that type of thing. And they will call accordingly. So that's the principles behind defining the controls and the hierarchy and how you want the differences that you can get them populated at runtime. I do think, even though, as I say, it's more work, this approach, defining them all, does give you by far greater control over them. So, but it is of course more work. Are you still there? Have I lost you?
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
No.
Extremely quiet. I thought my internet had gone then. So yeah. So if nothing else, that's food for thought for you.
I think that's probably got me started.
Oh, very good. Oh, very good. I mean, you can not so much on the app frame, but then again, you probably won't want it. But just to give, and for everybody else who's watching as well, just to remind you of what you can accomplish with some of these, is all we've done here so far is mention different controls, calling your buttons. So, okay, I've got a button here, I want to call a procedure. I've got this, I want to do that. In my applications, I probably haven't got the applications on this laptop, or definitely not the latest. But you can see, you can have various different types of controls up at the top. So these are all built into the command bar itself. So you've got slider controls, and as they're being pressed, it will tell you via an embed point what's been pressed and what value it's on. So as I'm sliding that, I can see what value it's on, just in case you needed it. One of the things you can do, and I do it on mine, is I have the report control, and I might have the field picker, I'll actually add the field picker onto part of this content up here. So I'll have a command bar across the top, but when it comes to the content, I won't say, oh, it's, let me just show you. It'd be hard to show on this one. Maybe on different controls. Let me add just to whet your appetite, so to speak. We will add a report control. And also, we'll go with that same Office 2016, I think it was. That will do. So we're going to have a report control, and you're going to have I'm going to add the calendar template, just to show some of the other stuff you can do. Okay. Which example would be best for us? Probably this one. I'm going to add a brand new bar. I'm going to put a couple of buttons on it. Oh no, I'll tell you what, we'll create a new procedure. Demo controls. Simple window. MDI window will do nicely for us. Okay. I'll have a command bar at the top. Use the nav because I want it to be docked, so I want it to take over the whole width at the top. I'm going to give it some actions. So I want a command bar interface. You could use ribbon just perfectly, just as easy for this. And it could be a pop-up that you do it with. But just to quickly show, so I'm going to have a simple bar. I'm going to have actions on here. Could learn to type, of course. Not probably shoulder gripper, kind of irrelevant. And take over the full width. That'll do. Okay. So I've got a bar called actions. I'm just going to have a dummy button just to show you how it would normally look. On the command bar called actions, and here's my dummy button. Remember, I should have really checked the window properties of it. Move the go to webinar controls all over the thing. Okay. Yeah, oh yeah, all looks good. Demo controls. We'll call it. We'll add it to our custom so we can see it start coming to shape. Part of our group. Oops. And it was group custom, if you remember a second ago. Demo controls. The just standard button. When I call it, I just want it to call demo controls. Oh, did that not compile? Okay, demo controls, and we've got a bar on there. Did I add it to the wrong parentage? Got a bar called Actions. Dock to the top. User control. Show gripper. Full width. Do watch for spellings. Now I've said it belongs to an action. It should have been actions. That word ID can of course be anything you like. It's purely my own ID there. Okay, custom, demo, dummy button, perfect. Now, all I'm going to very quickly show, just to whet your appetite, is on that same window, I'm going to add, let's do a date picker. There you go, calendar date picker. It's not going to be linked to a calendar, literally just want the actual date picker itself. No, none of that, just standard date picker, 3D, fine. Now I'm going to go to our command bar, and under the contents, I'm going to create one called Date Picker Pop-Up. So it goes to the command bar actions. It's a button pop-up. So that will do me so far. Sorry, I didn't give it any wording. That's a bit short-sighted. Date picker. And then I will also I'm going to put the date picker. Going to belong to that pop-up, which we just added a second ago. Date picker pop-up. So now we've said its hierarchy, it belongs to a pop-up control called dp.popup. And its content, now here, it's going to be Codejock wrapper. Noyantis Codejock wrapper template. What type? It's going to be a calendar date picker, and the control is going to be the date picker added to the window. So let's take a now look at that one. Demo controls. Our date picker is nowhere to be seen. Our dummy button is, and our pop-up now contains the date picker. So, and of course you can do that with other types of controls. So that could be a field picker from the report control. We're actually a bit against time, and I can hear my phone going like mad, which is probably people asking me to hurry up. And I do need to get on to Jim's question, but that just shows you that you're not limited to just what's available within the command bar itself. That can be other types of controls. So think outside the box and think of the command bars being used on your actual MDI windows as well, which is where I use them mostly, to be honest with you, and mimic or clone the Clarion buttons and put them up at the top and take charge of the window that way. Works quite well.
Yeah, it's great. I appreciate the time, especially on today. I know you got to get ready to go to the pub, right?
Well, I was just saying to John, yeah, we're going out to celebrate tonight, but believe it or not, we've actually been the whole house seems to be coming down with flu the last couple of days. So I dosed myself up with medicine prior to this, so I could feel a bit better. So we've all had the lurgy. So yes, we'll probably go out to celebrate, but it won't exactly be a crazy one. I'll be honest with you. I'll probably be home before midnight.
We've had the flu floating around here.
Well, so some others who were going to the party have already cried off for them because that their whole household is down with it as well. So I think it just seems to be, it's like circles of friends, and one person gets it, and then the next thing you know, everybody gets it. But we shall see. But that's the general idea. But hopefully that gives you some idea to start on, and then let's reconvene next week. And of course, drop me emails in the meantime. But we can reconvene next week and see how you've got on with progress.
Well, I do appreciate it, and I apologize to anybody else that's on here if I ate up too much of your time.
No. I mean, that's the whole point of these training sessions, and hopefully others will see that. And the idea of tying in other controls might just give people the idea for theirs as well. I use it, as I say, I use it for the field picker within the report control, and I use it for date pickers, especially for things like this. Anything that could take up large amounts of real estate, but you don't necessarily need them on the screen all the time. So the command bar is a really good way of using them, but folding them back. And of course, that's fully active. So as I'm clicking here now, the date picker control is getting what it needs to get and giving you the embed points to action accordingly. So maybe you've got a browse related to this, and as you're clicking through this, you're seeing different records, different orders, or things like that. But of course, you're not taking up loads of space on the screen. So it's just a different way of accomplishing what you're after without taking loads of space up.
I think that really, my big problem was the hierarchy portion of it. I didn't quite understand and I think I see better now what's going on with it. And
cool. I know Jim, who I'm going to open up the mic to next, was saying he gave me a particular idea a few weeks ago about reading the screen and populating that list for you from a hierarchy. And he's actually had my mind going overtime over the festive period. I don't even know whether it can be done, but my idea is, and we do digress, but I'll open the mic up to Jim at the same time. Are you there, Jim? Because we're going straight on to your question next. But
I'm here. Hi, Andy.
Hi. So basically, yeah, you got my mind working overtime on this. So it's where you populate these controls, and you do have to have not imagination, but you do have to remember, okay, I've defined that, and I want that to belong to, I want B to belong to A and C to belong to B, and so on and so forth. I quite like the idea of reading from the screen, like you said, coming up with some kind of XML, but then I'm actually, for want of a better term, want to come up with a menu designer so that I can actually pass. Be one hell of a, well, it'll probably be the XML file. Create an XML file, pass it to the designer, let you visually design, just like you've got a command bar designer, which is shipped with the controls, visually design your command bar, but then that will write you the XML and automatically import it back into the template for you. So it'll be visual, so you won't have to remember the hierarchy, you'll be able to do the designs there and then. I suppose a bit like the list box formatter, what pops up for you for painting a browse. Imagine the equivalent of that, but for the command bars. So that's something I'm going to be starting to play about with as a back burner project, I'll be honest. But I do like the idea of taking this here and giving it you visually via just a little exe that it'll call with the whatever parameter it needs.
Well, yeah, that'd be cool. I guess the way I got around my issue was I took the code that you generated through the templates, because I just found that going through the UI for 250 navigation items was a little bit tedious to try to set up the references. So I just took the code pattern that you generated from the template, and then I just omitted out your generated code. It seemed to me it's just a lot easier to maintain it in the embedded code, because then you can just some search and replaces and be done with it rather than go through 200 or 250 dialogues times about 5 to get to the the controls and the settings that you wanted.
Agreed.
So it's a lot easier to do it to the embed code. So
it's getting that balance between who wants to do embed and then do the actions of the embed, sorry, the embed of the actions, because obviously if the template doesn't know about it, it can't generate the actions for said piece. So it's getting that balance between who wants to do pure embed and who wants to use the template. And you're definitely not alone. A lot of people will paint I think I said to you, paint one kind of default structure but save it as a XML, but others will do one default structure and then have them as include files, and so on. And I've done a mishmash myself in my own apps, because you do get a good set of core common entries that you'll have on each menu. So having them as an include can actually be quite easy as well. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So, but what I was hoping to look at today was I've got an issue. I'm trying to use the navigation panes and use an MDI style of interface, where I think most of your examples show kind of an SDI type of interface. And there's something wrong in my setup of the panes where when the MDI window comes up, I see it, but it doesn't see the other ones. It obscures them unless you hit the right keystrokes. You can't cascade or tile the MDI windows. It just kind of gets obscured by the main pane. So I think there's just a setting in my app on the main pane that's interfering with the MDI behavior that I'm trying to go for.
Okay, it's probably easier if we see your screen then, if that's okay.
Sure, I can see if I can. It says I cannot take control. You have to give it to me?
Make presenter, so it should come your way any second now.
Alright, so you're looking at my Clarion screen right now in the app. I'll show you the app. See, here, I'll show you. So here I got, the navigation panes, the command bars on top, and if I can launch something and it works fine, and if I launch the second one, the new one comes up, but the old one gets obscured, and the only way you can see that it's really working is you click on the pane and you hit Control F6. Now you can see that, well, I really do have these MDI windows out there, but, I can't see them. When I launch new ones, they just get obscured, and, so now I'll have, 3 of them sitting out there, right?
Oh, okay.
And if I do something like, if I try to, cascade the windows, it doesn't understand that behavior, and they don't match at all.
Now, do you know, I think there is the cascade and the tile, because I think you sent an email on that, didn't you? The various ones have come through, and I've kept an eye on certain things. But there was a few webinars ago, somebody came on, I think with Robert, and said about the print setup wasn't working correctly. And basically, the ones where we're doing either API calls, like the tile window, the cut, copy, paste, things like that. That particular code was all working, all tested, as you would expect. And then we did a particular change to do with the switching threads. It was a while ago as well, this, to do with switching threads, and I think that has broken the others. So when you said about the tile not working, it rung true the same as the print setup, and we fixed it for that. So if anything, it's just, I've got a note written down to look at it for the tile as well. So thanks for highlighting it. I think I know what that is, and it's probably going to be something similar to what the problem was with the print setup. But coming to have a look at what you've got here, so I can see obviously got ribbon across the top. App looks great, by the way.
Thanks.
Yeah. This was the one that you was taking from C55, is that correct?
Well, yeah, this was migrated from C6 to C11. So right now it's just kind of I got the navigation stuff on top, and we're just trying to finalize the standards before we go into the screens and adopt the standards throughout the application.
I've got you.
So,
okay.
It's close. It's being able to change the icons and do a little reorganization, but, we get the concept down anyway.
Yeah, I like it. So, okay, so you've got your ribbon across the top. And that is attached to the app frame, is it?
Right.
Okay.
So that's over here.
And you've got, what do you got? Navigation on the left. Let's have a quick look at your, oh, okay, right. Can we have a look at the procedure tree of the actual application itself? Just so I get...
Sure. Yeah, I think I basically took this from your demo.
The example. We've got the main window. Yeah. That's great. Okay, so one of the browsers that pops up, the one that was in question then, is it browse countries or something like that?
Browse countries, yeah, this one.
Okay. So, docking pane content management. Now, how is that being called? Are you just starting that procedure?
Right.
Okay. So what you've got going on here, I think. Just run the application again, if you will, please.
Sure.
Oh, I got it in the background yet. It's one I prepared earlier. All right. So you've got the you've got a main window, and you want to. I take it you want to use docking panes.
Right.
Okay. So what I would do there is.
So the way that's structured right now is we have the docking panes, and calendar is just for special that's left over from yours. Basically, we've got two panes, left and right, the navigation bar area and the work area. So it's the work that's all coming into, basically, right? So, but I was trying to get this to just be, say, one pane or something, or get the navigation, the work pane to hide. I just couldn't get the right setting, and maybe it's not possible.
Okay, well let's take that. Let's take that. What was the pane a minute ago? Was it countries, categories, or something?
Excuse me?
Well, there was one which you opened, and you had it open a few times.
Browse countries.
Right.
Was the one I was playing around with.
But you definitely want that to, okay, now here's the thing.
Well, basically I want any browse to pop up. Yeah. But, conceptually, these ones are just hooking up dummies, but, okay, like print setup. Now, this should run at the same time as browse countries, right? And, so I guess that's a MIDI, that's not a MIDI child, but, conceptually, I want to have different, browse customers or whatever. I've just got the browse countries is the only one that works right now. Just for show.
Okay, can we? Let's do. I'll tell you what. Browse. What two have you got? Countries, and have you got another one which we can just play about with temporarily? So, customers and countries, something like that.
No. Well, I could try. Maybe customers. I forget. No, actually, I think countries is the only one I got working at the moment.
Okay.
But we can open that multiple times. Doesn't matter.
Well, no. Here's the thing. If we did it via the panes, then technically you wouldn't. So that's why I was after a second window.
Oh, you mean I have to define a pane uniquely for every browse that I've got in the application? Like 150 of them? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Well, if you want, again, it's this trying to find this happy medium between having basically through the template or through embed code, because all the template's doing, if say you wanted for each one of the windows you wanted to take up the area of the work area, then yes, you would have a pane for each one and bring that into focus and have them part of the same group, the same work group, if you will, and have a setting on there, each one of the tabs to say, when I take focus, panes, when I take focus, hide the others in the group. So which basically, it gives you the MDI facility, but only shows it basically one at a time, which is the effect you're trying to achieve.
Now, no, I'm not trying for that effect. I want the two MDI looks so you can see the multiple windows all at one time, and you can just click on the title bar, the window and back, and that comes to the foreground.
Okay. Then, okay.
I want this type of behavior, but the pane is obscuring it, and so unless you know how to hit Control F6 all the time.
You wouldn't want the main window then. I know what you mean. You wouldn't want the main window because you're not really, the main window approach, with the docking pane approach, I should say, is really to give you the effect I was just mentioning. You don't really need this, that main. You just want the shortcut bar, or basically that window what's on the left. So I should
delete the work pane? Is that what you're saying right here? Delete.
No, I don't actually think you need that whole main procedure if you're going down that path. Just if you can just switch back to the app a second, just so I make sure I've got it right in the approach. So you want the ribbon across the top, and you want the navigation on the left.
Right, and that navigation right now can be hidden or it can be but user can resize it and do all that stuff, but they can get rid of it if they don't want it, because these are somewhat redundant ways to get in here. The top menu structure kind of follows their existing approach, but converts it to a ribbon, and the left side's kind of more of a functional approach. Let's look at departments, and here's what each department would do, kind of thing.
Yep. And you've got like a tree within
each one in the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Then that's fine. You can accomplish all that, but what I'm saying is you don't need docking panes to do that. We've got a level of complexity. What's not needed. The example app. This is the NYS, probably based upon the NYS demo app. The example app is to give you the type of approach which I just mentioned, where you would have each one of the panes, each one of the panes open just once, taking up the maximum, like replacing the work area. Now, so that's why we've got the main, because we can trick it. And yes, if you didn't want to define 150 different panes, then we could switch it a different way. You can do it via code, set pane, control handle, something like that. So I can knock you up an example of how you do it via code, which is how JP used to do it in the DMC product. So there's ways and means of that, but you wouldn't have basically each. The best way of that working is you only have the pane's always maximised. You're taking over the work area, and you wouldn't necessarily have two lots of browse countries open at the same time, or you wouldn't be able to see the tiled windows, because that approach doesn't work for that. That setup doesn't work for that approach for you. So if you're after literally that look and feel what you've got there, ribbon across the top, navigation down the left, you can do that. And through a bit of code, we can do you can have it resized. Well, I suppose just do it via a particular window actually. So we can do that. But if you just want the client area, the work area, to just be a standard Clarion window client area where MDI children open and close and be tiled and so on and so forth, as they do now, then you can't use the main approach, because the main approach is open, it's maximised. Hence why the windows are going behind it, because you're not getting to see, that's obviously taking precedence over the other windows. And then only when you're tiling or whatever, you're bringing them back into focus. So that's why you're getting that effect of what's going on there. Yeah, what you want there is put the ribbon on the top, attached as an app frame, like we just did a second ago with Bill. So you could have that, no problem. And then you could just use the standard shortcut bar attached to the app frame, dock to the left like you've got here. The only thing that wouldn't give you is the resizable. You'd probably have to code that yourself if it's on the app frame. Or so you wouldn't use docking panes at all for the approach that you're talking about. The docking panes is really where you've got this, maybe something across the top, some kind of navigation to the left, and the work area. And the work area is always can switch, and it remembers where it was up to, and and so on and so forth. But it really does take over the whole of the work area. That's what the docking panes really comes into its own there for.
Okay, so you're saying I basically delete the docking panes, then to get the shortcut bars to work the way they are on the left side.
You could just put them directly onto the app frame. So you could put both the command bar onto the app frame and basically they would both. What's actually running? If you run the app again, I could run mine, because obviously I don't know. You know yourself. You can't draw directly onto the app frame. You can trick it with a ribbon, with a toolbar, but that's not going to help on this kind of thing. So what actually happens when we use the command bars a second ago on the app frame, what it actually does is it creates you a docked window. This is the template. It creates you a docked window, takes charge of that window, all its settings and so on, and then puts the command bar on that window. And when you put the shortcut bar onto the app frame, to the left, it does exactly the same, docks it to the left. So it becomes a docked window, and so on and so forth. So that's what you're after. If you want to keep all of this, like you've got various different windows opened and potentially be tiled and so on, and you don't want to take the user too far from what they're used to, you just want to introduce the new navigation, then you would have to attach them to the app frame, which would then leave you the MDI client area available for the windows to be tiled and so on and so forth as you want now. But you wouldn't be able to use the docking panes because they would want to, via the main. You wouldn't want to use docking panes. You probably wouldn't need docking panes at all in it because that would want to take charge of all of the client area for you.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. So when I'm done, basically, I can get rid of my main window procedure and migrate that code into the app frame, and like you're saying, get rid of the panes, and we should be.
Yeah, and if you like,
I'm looking for.
I can. I'm trying to think how I can actually do it, but there must be a way. Yeah, there must be a way. Just trying to think on the docked, because what you're asking for is, say, let's take the command bar across the top it grows its own size, just as we saw a second ago, and it will automatically pop up. So that's kind of taken care of for you. So don't worry about that. The main thing I think you'd probably like, and you're not alone in asking for, is this navigation on the left. You want it so they could potentially close it or potentially resize it and so on and so forth. So the way I could probably do that, because I'm in charge of that docked window, I could probably, if it's docked to the left, give you a little region to the right and just monitor you clicking down in the region. So as you're clicking left and, dragging it left and right, I resize the window accordingly. Or if it's docked to the right, I create the region to the left, vice versa. But that type of approach. So that's fine. I think that's doable. It's doable via code yourself, but you'd have to get your hand in the class because, of course, it takes charge of its own window because it's it kind of expects it to do so. But that's no problem. I could add a region to the opposite side of where it's being docked and let you monitor for the mouse being dragged around within that region and do the window size accordingly. So left, right, up, down, depending on the docking surface.
Okay, that'd be cool. Yeah.
But don't let that distract you. In the meantime, you could quite easily accomplish without the resizability, if you will, of the navigation on the left. Just add for what you've got there your shortcut bar, but add it to the app frame. Tell it it's docked to the left. Give it a default size, maybe something around the 140-ish mark. The good default for docking for shortcut bar, and then have your content accordingly.
Okay, I'll give that a go and see if I can get that working, and I'll let you know if I got any issues.
Yeah, we'll hear again next week. So no problem. Although,
okay, thank you very much.
Oh no, you're welcome, and Happy New Year, of course.
Same to you. So
I'm going to have to start wrapping up, but I did want to quickly ask John about the PDF. So John, are you still around?
I am.
Okay. So yes, just wanted to quickly ask about the PDF. I'm going to just bring me back to myself. So we was doing an enhancement to the PDF wrapper. I'm just trying to make presenter there, me. We was doing an example, an enhancement, and it was a particular new PDF control that John found, and we got so far with it, but I think there was 2 or 3 items left. One was print, one was search, and I forget the third one, if not truth. Now you said you got somewhere with the print. I've got to admit I've done very little. It was on the schedule, and then it kind of just went out the window.
Yeah, I got printing working, but it fell down on the search. Whenever I did a search, it would just crash the entire program, and I tried it in the example app and in my own app, and so I don't know if there's anything to do for it. It was just a straightforward call.
But yeah, from memory, in the OCX and from the help of the OCX, it's literally just it's supposed to open up its own window, if I'm right.
Right, and it does. It opens it up.
Yep.
And then you type in what you're looking for and hit OK, and then it kind of sits there, and then your entire app disappears.
Yeah, and I think that's
not going to be good.
Kind of where I got to on mine. So it's going to be an interesting one to try and find then. That might have to actually.
I kind of had to move forward, so I went with the WP cubed thing, which is You support that too.
Yes, yeah. I'd use that in a couple of apps myself, actually.
Yeah, and that's got some nice benefits. You can do some nice things with that.
Yeah, it's quite a nice tool. I don't entirely want to write the work off what's on that other one though so far. I mean, it might be if the search doesn't work, it's one of the unsupported facilities until the developer comes back to us and says, yes, sorry, it's X, Y, Z, and so on. But there's also how they have some of their their implementations. Like say this one, we create a region for and we have to do a workaround. So it might be, some of that affecting it. Because I find it hard to believe that it's been out there for such a long time and nobody's ever complained that the search crashes their app. So it's going to be something probably in implementation, which just have to find the workaround. What was the workaround on the print? If you don't mind me asking.
The workaround on what? On
the print.
Oh, printing. It worked fine when I did it.
And
it wasn't really a workaround.
I just did it. I still had it on the list as to check out. I didn't think it was.
It just wasn't. I don't think you just wrote that part yet. But that was really easy. That worked fine.
Oh.
I just did the straight call to it.
Well, what I'll do is because it might be that on the search I'm giving it the wrong handle. There's two handles in play there: a document handle and a viewer handle. It might be a typo. I very much doubt it, but it might be a typo where I'm passing it the wrong handle. Remember, their help also wasn't quite matching the internals of the OCX.
And I checked that. I looked at the type lib thing on it.
Yeah.
And I was just doing a straight call because I don't think you had gotten that part put into the template either. So I was using the same handle that all the other ones were using.
Oh no! I thought unless I
very straightforward.
No, on mine I was doing the call.
Oh, did you? Okay, I was doing it by hand. So.
Right. No, I was doing the call, but didn't. I got the same window come up, but then really it would just. It wouldn't crash immediately, but it's like it paused, thought about it, and then just went.
Yep, just disappeared.
Disappears.
But demos, I've tried their demo and it works fine. So it's
So it's going to be.
It's going to be a tough one.
We're playing about with a region, so. Okay. I shall report back next week. Back into the office on Wednesday as normal, so it'll be the usual full steam ahead. Okay. Right, I really have got to wrap up because I know I'm going to start getting some grief any minute now. So thank you everybody for attending. It means a lot to us. Thank you for attending week in, week out, which is also nice. And until next week, and until 2019, Happy New Year, and I shall see you then.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Cheers. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.